Why did we see so many track limit penalties in Austria? Now, you'd be forgiven for thinking you were watching an F1 game online lobby with the amount of warnings and penalties we saw during Sunday's Austrian Grand Prix, but no, it was in fact real life, and the stewards were indeed that harsh. Now, this isn't something we tend to see all that often during the F1 calendar. Yeah, we might get the odd qualifying lap being deleted, or even a warning for one driver exceeding track limits. But the amount we saw around the Red Bull Ring was verging on ridiculous. But why? Why did we see so many? Well, there's a few factors at play which I'm going to share with you. Please like the video if you do enjoy it, and also subscribe if you haven't already. Love ya. The Red Bull Ring is one of the fastest and most challenging tracks on the calendar, with a combination of long straights, a relatively narrow track, and some blind corners thrown in too. This makes the handing out of penalties pretty frequent. So much so, last year there were only 4 drivers who managed to avoid any investigation into them whatsoever over the 3 days, with 10 drivers being handed penalties and a further 6 being investigated. This was of course for a mixture of incidents. The trend continued in the race this year, with 43 track limit breaches, 5 drivers being given time penalties, and 4 of which were for exceeding track limits. They were for Sebastian Vettel, Zhou Guanyu, Lando Norris and Pierre Gasly. Track limits seem to be a major issue for many drivers, with the likes of Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz and Lewis Hamilton all coming close to earning a penalty themselves due to the amount of times they strayed off track. Leclerc in particular racked up 2 warnings very quickly. Another one of those and he'd be slapped with a 5-second time penalty. I wasn't nervous. Promise. You would think that it being a consistent rule for all means that the drivers wouldn't have much to complain about. However, Sergio Perez says that some people get away with it, some people not, which isn't exactly the best thing to hear when it seems as though some drivers may be track extending and not getting caught. May I please refer you to what I've said many times already on this channel? Introduce sensors or something that is automated and accurate. It is Formula 1, the pinnacle of motorsport. Surely they can make this happen. Another point is that although we are now halfway through the 2022 season, it seems drivers are still getting used to the lack of visibility in their new machinery for this year. Lots of drivers have commented on how difficult it now is to pick a braking point or even pass over a curb. Danny Rick said, "What is difficult this year is the visibility. You don't see much of the bodywork and above the front wheels. As silly as it may seem, being precise when passing over a curb or a white line is much more delicate." Sergio Perez also complained about a major problem with this year's new generation of cars. He said, "It's very narrow. Sometimes you put your car in a place where you think you're safe, but you're not, so it's very difficult to judge that." This whole debate is something Max Verstappen reckons doesn't look great for the sport. He explained just how difficult it is to stay within the defined track limits. It's easy to say from the outside, yeah, you just have to stay within the white lines. Yeah, I mean, it sounds very easy, but it's not. There you have it, a look into why we saw quite a few penalties flying around in Austria. What are your thoughts on how track limits are policed? Let us know in the comment section below.